Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be connecting our lecture on scientific racism with Rua Benjamin's introduction to race after technology, where she introduces the idea of the new Jim Code. Both the lecture and the reading show how racism often hides behind claims of science. So starting with the lecture, we learned that in the 19th and early 20th centuries, scientists used phrenology, which is the measurement of the skull, as well as its shape and its size, to claim that white people were naturally smarter and more civilized, while black people were inferior. Even though phrenology is now considered a fake science, I think it really just laid the foundation for later propaganda, like Nazi imagery that used physical features such as the Jewish nose to dehumanize Jewish people. And I think that these examples show how racism becomes more powerful when it's disguised as scientific truth. In the Rua Benjamin reading, it argues the same logic that continues today, but it also looks different. So instead of the skull measurements, we now have algorithms, databases, and automated decision-making systems. And she calls this the new Jim Code, which is new technologies that appear neutral but also reproduce old patterns of inequality. And just like scientific racism claimed to be objective, today's technologies are also marketed as unbiased and fair. And I think one part of the reading, she talks about how names function like data. She discusses the research showing that people with white sounding names receive far more callbacks than people with black sounding names, even when their resumes are identical or, the same. But even worse, I would think, when it talked about how computer algorithms were trained on human writing, that they repeated the same biases in associating white names with pleasant words and then black names with unpleasant ones. It's like the same pattern we see with phrenology, like a biased idea that becomes encoded into a system that pretends to be scientific. And I think the lecture's example of the one drop rule is also really connected, because the idea that just one drop of black ancestry makes a person legally and socially black just shows how race was turned into a grid of a classification system, something that's fixed and enforceable, which is exactly what Benjamin warns us about. When something is coded, whether it's legally or digitally, it becomes really hard to change, even when the system is biased. But bringing all that together, I think the lecture just showed us how scientific racism used biology and fake science to justify inequality. So I think our job is to really just learn how to recognize them, basically. But yeah, thanks for watching.